Good evening everyone and welcome to TTL F2. This is Season 5, Round 6, here at the Hungary, otherwise known as Magna Nadadech. And of course this is F1 2019, or in this case F2 2019. And I, of course, am James Head 14, going to be taking you through the streaming here tonight and the action out on track, of course. Feature race and sprint race to come. One-shot qualifying for the feature race, the top 8 reversed, of course, for that sprint race. And coming into tonight, just remind you what happened last week in Britain at the home of British Motorsport at Silverstone. Honey Badger won the sprint race, with Afri taking the feature race. So that's how it panned out last week. And as of the performances last week, actually some very good performances from majority of the guys. Honey obviously getting that his first win of the season. Coming out on top, of course, in that sprint race was fantastic to see. And quite notable debut from Vikmil, who I hope is going to be back here tonight, the Polish driver taking over the BWT Arden, of course. Coming into tonight, the driver standings is as follows. Afri leads the way on 164 points, with Siege in second on 103. Spike is in third on 94, with Lyronix in fourth on 86. Navy is in fifth on 76, with Casper in sixth on 46. So there's quite a bit of a variation there between fifth and sixth, 30 points separating. Sean in seventh on 45, just a point behind Casper. Mays in eighth on 35. Honey Badger and Maximus tied for ninth on 33 points. They're in the R10 and the Sauber Junior respectively. And then the rest of the field is as follows. Schnitzel on 25, the Gort on 25, Andy on 16, Vikmil after his debut scoring 12 points, good point score for him on his debut, Alan Kay on 6 and S. Graham on 2 points. And we have got 14 drivers here tonight. Schnitzel does return, which is good to see, and I do believe we haven't got Vikmil as of yet. Hopefully he will be racing here tonight. There's nothing being said in the chat, certainly that I've seen, that suggests that he's not going to be, that he is going to be making it here tonight. So I haven't suggested, so we're expecting him to attend, or I'm certainly expecting him to attend. I'm going to check the comment section though in the meantime, see how you guys are doing here tonight. Good evening to Lyronus, good evening to Maze. Yes, the Penguin's out in force, however I might be feeling quite hungry in this race. Hopefully the Penguins will be too as well. That is a very bad pun, I know. Good evening to Stuart Fuller as well, and Lyronix coming in and saying, oh yeah, I remember I bottled the last lap. Yeah, it was unfortunate that he did bottle the last lap last week, of course, Lyronix, but I'm sure the better performances will be here tonight. We should be getting going very shortly indeed. But at the Hungary, at Magna Nadadech, and there are 19 laps awaiting the drivers here tonight. Vikmil just joining in a little bit late there, but Vikmil is here. And we're up to 15 drivers, which is pretty much a full attendance of the drivers we do have. We still have 4 vacant spots. I've been working around the clock to try and find drivers for TTL F2. I can update you a little bit on that, really. Most of the guys that I've approached either aren't available, or they just don't want to join because of the F2 cars. So it's a bit of a shame that we can't entice anybody in, but if you are interested, come on, join in on the fun. It's a Tuesday night, it's an hour of your time. It is fantastic racing for the most part. Get involved, because seriously, you won't want to miss out, and you will be looking like a fool if you don't join up. So that's my little plea there to everyone that is tuning in, and hopefully I will, of course, have a look at that during the stream as well. I will try and remember to give that plea once again near the end of the stream here tonight in TTL F2. We should be getting going very shortly indeed. 15 drivers. Good to see Andy back after his absence last night, of course, in Project Cars. The point score, I will update that, of course, on Monday's stream, Project Cars, but we should be getting going very shortly indeed. One-shot qualifying, 50% feature race, 50% sprint race, and that is it. That is the format here tonight. The top 8, of course, in that sprint race reversed, which ensures there is a bit of a closer battle within the championship. That was the aim at the start of the season when I dreamt up the point system. 2 different point systems, of course, for the feature, running the traditional F1 point system, and the sprint race running the 15, 12 and 10, but the top 10 still do get points, which is quite notable indeed. We are here at Hungary, of course. 14 turns, I should say. Goodness me, if I can get my words out. 14 turns for these drivers to really entice into tonight. The DRS zones are as follows. Of course, down the start-finish straight between the last corner, turn 14, and turn 1, and then down the hill into turn 2. So they're the DRS zones out on track. There are 2 DRS zones out on track. I think they should add a third DRS zone, to be honest, between turns 3 and 4. That is the run up the hill. But of course, that is quite a limited overtaking opportunity. However, overtakes have been happening there before. I've seen it with my own eyes as well, so hopefully we'll be able to see some great action here out on track. That middle sector, of course, the 2 chicanes, quite technical in that middle sector. Turn 5 might be a bit of a bummer. If you kept going on the inside, then it is really your own fault, and you're going to bound to spin the car around at that turn 5. And then coming into the final sector, quite easy, that 90-degree 13 at turn 13, the hairpin. Going to be very interesting to see how drivers get around that. We should getting going to one-shot qualifying. Perfectly timed. Navy is the driver we're on board with in the MP Motorsport as we run down towards turn 1. Honey Badger has retired from the session. So we're now down into turn 1. And I do apologise, my telly is just a little bit low. Siege has also retired from the session, but through turn 1 they go. Spike Lyronics leading the way from Vic Mill in 3rd. After just jumping up there, currently the championship leader, of course. Navy right involved early on as they come through the first sector. Now run up the hill towards turn 4, which is the left-hander here, and then at turn 5 at that right-hander. That very tricky hairpin. Watch for anybody that might spin the car here. Navy taking the apex, taking wide of the apex there. That's exactly what you want to do, and Navy really clean through that corner. Now into 6 and 7, this very tricky chicane. Got to get it right, and Navy did just that. Now into turn 8, coming halfway through the middle sector now, again through the second chicane, through 8 and then into 9, fast flowing left and right there. Now into 10, it's the left, and then 11, which is the right-hander. Just cutting the grass slightly, just losing a little bit of time. Gort is trying to catch him as well. Spike Lyronics Afri currently your top 3. Vic Mill just dropping down into 5th there. Navy is in 4th at this stage. And he's on a soft compound of tyres. Through turn 12 into 13 now. This very tricky hairpin, making it look quite easy. Just snapping out the back end slightly. Now through turn 14, another 90-degree right-hander here, where the pit lane is, coming across the start-finish line. Spike will take pole position at a 20 flat from Spike. 28 flat, sorry, from Spike. Fantastic lap. Nearly 5 tenths clear of Lyronics. Navy, in the meantime, did cross the line in 4th position, and I'll bring you his lap time very shortly indeed when the grid order does come up. So at the end of one-shot qualifying for the feature race, Spike takes pole position by nearly 4.5 tenths per second. Lyronics is in 2nd, a German 2-3 there with Afri in 3rd, the current championship leader. Only 800 ahead of Navy in 4th, with Vic Mill in 5th, 9 tenths behind. Schnitzel in 6th, with Sean in 7th, Mays in 8th, Andy in 9th. Maximus, interestingly, on the set of medium compound tyres. Of course, remember, these guys can choose their free compound tyres once they come into the race. It's not like the F1 leagues that you see on this channel. Alan Kay in 11th, Gort, Siege, Honey Badger and Casper. Casper invalidating his time and getting disqualified from the session. Gort, Siege and Honey Badger respectively either retiring or not setting a time there at all, so probably invalidated on their laps as well. But it is Spike, who takes pole position. We come into the feature race, the first round of action here happening tonight at the Hungaroring. Of course, the sprint race to follow. Hopefully you guys enjoying the stream so far. Oh, and I don't believe it, it's raining. It's raining. I wasn't expecting this at all. It's absolutely teeming down out on track. Of course, we've got the formation up, so we can delve into these guys. Of course, there is only one set of tyres for the F2 cars, one wet set of tyres. They are the wet set of tyres. There's there's only 2, I think, dry compound of tyres. So this is going to be really interesting to see. 19 laps in the wet. This could be quite interesting indeed.
Can you speak?
Do apologise about that little brief interlude there. I was just getting told something in my ear. The F2 cars handle better. They actually have some mechanical grip, says Spike. But it is wet compound of tyres here for the drivers here tonight. Of course, wet, the only compound of tyre for these F2 cars. Looks like they've refined the graphics slightly on the pit lane exit there. That white line just seems a little bit brighter than normal. Might be my telly, actually, I don't know. Yes, Spike coming in saying a wet race. Big rip in the comments there from Lyronics as well. Schnitzel coming in as well. And Nails coming in as well. TTV Nails saying good evening, folks. Good evening to Nails. Hopefully you're doing well here tonight. There's the formation lap. Everyone, we're clearly struggling. Don't take the track like it is in the dry. Make sure you are quite aware of the cars around you, especially because the spray is now being kicked up out on track. This is very key, I think, to enabling a very good lap 1 to begin, and of course the first couple of laps can, in some races, make or break themselves. So we'll have to see how this is going to pan out. Of course, all the 15 drivers on a set of wet compound of tyres. It is raining out on track, just like it has been here in real life. But we're in Hungary. This is going to be quite fun. I think it's the first wet race of the season, if I do remember as well. This is the first wet race of the season. So, Spike, Lyronics, after your current top 3, of course, we're on the formation lap, so these guys will be coming around into the final sector now. Very quick formation lap, I've got to say so myself. You will have to deal with a little bit of coughing and spluttering possibly from me during this commentary as well. I have got a drink, unlike my Project Cars 2 commentary last night, where I didn't have a drink and I had to spend the last 10 minutes on Love Hearts. Yeah, I know. Very strange indeed. As for my top 3 prediction coming into tonight, with 19 laps of action going to happen out on track, I think Lyronics is going to take it. I think he might just be stronger than the guys ahead of him and behind him. I think Lyronics will take the win. I'm going to go Navy for second and Afri for third. So second, third and fourth just delving up. Spike, I don't think, will have the pace in the wet. He seems to have been struggling on the formation lap as well. We've got the last couple of cars now joining up on the back. Alan Kay is that final car to join up on the back. We'll be ready to go for 19 laps of action here in TTL F2. Buckle up, because it's going to be a wild ride here tonight at the Hungaroring. Hopefully we can get a better camera angle than looking down the backside of every single driver. Spike, to set us off, 5 red lights about to go out here in Hungaroring. Very long hold on the lights, but the lights are out and we are underway for the feature race. Spike gets a very good start. Afri already up to second. Lyronics drops down, so there's my prediction going slightly. Everyone clean down towards turn 1. There's 3 wide in the background between Schnitzel, Lyronics and Navy, that is. Down into turn 1, Lyronics just messing up his braking point slightly into Vic Mill just a little bit. Navy's got the inside line. It's 3 wide for second place. Coming down the hill, a little bit of contact made. You shouldn't really go 3 wide. Relatively all clean running down the hill. Into turn 3, this flat left-hander, everyone running wide. You can really sense how wet it is actually out on track, but Spike has got the lead of the race. 7/10 of a second running up the hill towards turn 4. Everyone clean and showing a lot of respect out on track. That's what we like to see. Spike leads the way from Afri in second, Vic Mill in third, Lyronics in fourth. Siege has gone past Sean in the meantime. There's a little bit of a split happening in between the field. The top 4 getting away from Navy. Schnitzel just holding a little bit of a train up here. Siege is going down the inside and has got the move done. I think Siege has made up tremendous ground from the early positions. He's getting 7 positions from 13th place. Somebody just cutting over the chicane there. I think that might have been Honey Badger on Maximus possibly just cutting over the chicane. One car certainly did anyways, but relatively clean. I've got to say, probably the cleanest lap 1 of the feature race we've certainly seen probably all season. Spike leads the way, 8/10 of a second from Afri in second. The 2 BWT Ardens now fighting it out. Vic Mill the pole against the German of Lyronics. Vic Mill runs very wide, just loses the back end slightly. Lyronics on his outside and gets the move done, so capitalises on that mistake. Lyronics is up to 3rd position. Got to make sure that, as Mays is trying to go up the inside of Honey Badger, Honey Badger actually trying to get past him around the outside here at the hairpin of turn 13. He just loses the back end, loses the power off. He's going to have to rejoin in a safe manner. Honey Badger keeping out of the way will rejoin in that safe manner and will join in 12th place. So that is quite safe there. At the end of lap 1, it is Spike who leads the way, 1.4 seconds from Afri, with Lyronics in third. We've got pretty much 3 wide running down the straight here. Maximus going down the inside of Mays. Little bit of contact. Maximus just maybe outdoing himself on the braking point slightly. There is a yellow flag in sector 1. Maximus wide there, that's probably why. And Andy's dropped positions as well. Andy's dropped positions. Any front wing damage on that car? Just seems to be struggling. But he has lost 4 positions. We'll jump back to the battle for 4th. Vic Mill has now been overtaken by Ironics, of course, after his mistake, and now Vic Mill under pressure from Navy. Definitely appears to me that he might be struggling in these wet conditions. Well, lap 2 out of 19, and Spike still holds the lead by 1.1 seconds from Afri, Ironics in third. So the championship leader doing great guns. Vic Mill just cuts across the chicane slightly there. So we'll focus on this for now. Of course, if anything goes on further down the field, I will be straight to that. Maximus has just gone past Alan Kay, possibly a move done there from Maximus. There is a yellow flag in sector 2, so it's assuming that Alan Kay has actually spun around. He's got a 10-second time penalty for track limits. Just going to have a ride on board with that, actually, see where that was. I have a feeling that might have been at the chicane. He's lost his left side end plate, so he will have to come back into the pit. Of course, a mandatory pit stop does have to be made still with these wet compound of tyres. Navy just runs a little bit too deep there into turn 13. Siege now right on the back. He's getting those 7 positions early on, but at the end of lap 2, as we approach the end of lap 2 and on to lap 3 we go, Spike does lead the way from Afri in second. New fastest lap of the race, 45.9 there from Spike. Maximus has gone ahead of Andy, who's made a mistake, I do believe. Maximus is up to 13th, Andy now down to 14th. Siege now chasing Navy for 5th and 6th position, and Honey Badger has been overtaken actually by Sean further down the field. Honey Badger trying to look down the inside of Sean. Committed down the inside. Can he get the run off the corner? Can he get the traction? Of course, in the wet conditions, it will favour the outside line. So Sean, and oh, Honey Badger, goodness me. Very close to contact there. Sean losing the back end, I think, to avoid contact and banging wheels there with Honey Badger. That didn't seem dangerous to me, but that will have to be investigated for sure, just to have another look at that, to be honest. Siege right on the back of Navy, though, in the meantime, for 5th position. Just seemed like Sean just lost the back end, I've got to say. Lost the back end. Honey Badger, I think, was going to get the move done, if I can put a thing on that, but remains to be seen. There is a yellow flag in Sector 1, and it's Andy who was round in Sector 1. We'll not focus on that, we'll focus on Honey Badger trying to get past Casper now. So the two drivers about to do battle, of course, Honey Badger in the Art, Casper in the Carlin, so this is going to have to be very, very good points from both of these so far. Casper seems to excel in the wet. Sean just losing the back end slightly. Just seems to be struggling after that slight mistake, after near contact between himself and Honey Badger. Honey Badger now down the inside of Casper. Goes right down the outside. That's a beautiful move. Casper on the switchback could get him, but I think this is going to be Honey Badger's move all day long. And the Dutchman is through on the fin, and he gets the move done. He's up to 8th place. So Honey Badger is through on Casper. Nice move. And he's up to 8th through turn 13 there at the hairpin. Casper right on the back. We'll go further back down the field though. Gort and Maximus looking quite close here. 12th and 13th out on track. Of course, Gort in the Univertosi against Maximus in the Sauber Junior team, formerly known as Charoux, of course. Charoux changing their name at the end of the 2018 season, formerly and also Russian time, of course, changing their name to a different team. Univertosi, that is, I do believe now. Maximus now down into turn 1, right on the back of Gort, not looking close enough for the move. We'll focus our attentions, however, on the battle for 5th, and side by side, actually, Siege trying to go around the outside on Navy. We didn't see really if Navy made a mistake through turn 1, which has led to Siege trying to get him side by side. Gort and Maximus now kicking off. It's typical of me. Whenever I go off the action, it's side by side now between Gort and Maximus. Maximus with a traction, though, does get that move done. So Maximus excelling in the wet conditions, it seems, and he's up to 12th place. And it's actually side by side, trying to go around the outside. Gort, not quite. Schnitzel has lost a position to Honey Badger in the meantime, and that was through turn 5, I do believe that was. Honey Badger, Schnitzel down the inside. The two Dutchmen now going at it for 7th place, and Honey Badger making great progress through the field. He's up to 7th. Let's have a look at how he's been getting on in the position changes. 7 positions gained. Siege is getting 7 as well. And we'll focus back on him because he's right on the back of Navy as well. Lap 4 out of 19. Approaching the end of lap 4 out of 19. And it's Spike who still leads the way. Afri in second. Ironic in third. But the majority of the battling, once again, happening in the mid-pack in this feature race. Of course, all the attentions will be focused right to the front, certainly, for the sprint race. Siege right on the back of Navy though. We're on to lap 5. I will say that. We're on to lap 5. Now we are. Spike does lead the way from Afri in second. Ironic's in third, who has pulled away from Vic Mill. Does seem to be struggling slightly in the conditions. Navy and Siege beginning to try and close in. Of course, Siege in the other Carlin going to be trying to chase down Navy. 5/10 of a second down the straight into turn 1. Ooh, Siege just messing up his braking point slightly. Goes wide of the apex into turn 1. Trying tries to get the run off into turn 2, or down the hill into turn 2 even, but Siege not quite close enough. Schnitzel and Casper going to be looking quite close on this lap, I do believe, as well. That's for 8th and 9th, just behind in the camera shot actually, these two. Navy and Siege as they come through. Well, right on board actually, we'll get a real sense of how these wet conditions actually are for these drivers. Siege 4 tenths away from Navy, but you can see the extent of the spray that is being kicked up and the extent of the rain that is falling here. And Navy just misses the apex just slightly in front. But ensures the wide out exit, goes deep into the corner and tries to get the exit out of the corner, and that's managed as there's a yellow flag in sector 1. Andy, I think, again, is that beneficiary out of that mistake. So Andy has made another mistake out on track, not a beneficiary I should say of the mistake. Andy struggling. Mays is round in sector 2. Is that at the fearsome? In fact, Maximus has gone past Mays, so Maximus through on Mays. Not sure what happened there. If Mays made a mistake possibly at the tricky turn 5, which is the right-hander, of course. I have seen drivers lose it there plenty of times in the wet, so I wouldn't be too surprised, to be honest, if that happened. Didn't catch it on stream. Siege 7 tenths away from Navy in the meantime, but we'll focus actually on the battle for the lead now, as Spike just losing a little bit of time to Afri, and Afri much quicker on that last lap, 45.5. The German hunting down the Brit on lap 6 out of 19. Spike does lead the way from Afri in second. There is Lyronix just in the background a shot. Honey Badger sets a new fastest lap of the race, goes about 400ths quicker than Afri there, so 1:45.407 there from Honey Badger. He's into 7th. He is trying to close in on Navy and Siege respectively. Everyone's still going right out on track. The conditions taking its toll on a couple of drivers. Little niggly bitly mistakes really out on track. Apart from that, it's been relatively clean. It has been totally clean, I should say. It's been fantastic to watch. Casper on the back of Schnitzel, just coming down the hill into turn 3. Schnitzel just going slightly stubborn to try and ensure that he gets the power out of the corner. Andy into the pits, of course. The mandatory pit stops are as part of TTL F2 here for the feature race. Casper trying to chase down Schnitzel though in the meantime. The Finn right on the back of the Dutchman, and the Dutchman seems to be struggling. Has he lost his front wing, I wonder? Anywhere on track. Let's right on board. Has he lost his end plate or anything? He just seems to be struggling on the tyres as Casper tries to size him up. Not going to be close enough though, down for a move into the chicane at 8 and 9. Casper now through the chicane. Schnitzel still holding on for 8th position, but we're on board with Casper to try and ensure that he gets the run off. Into turn 11 now, the right-hander. Look at this, Casper right on the back, but right in the dirty air, just ensures that the back end kicks out, and Schnitzel doing a good job driving a very defensive line, I've got to say. And the Dutchman holding off the Finn, but for how long? Casper got to size up his opportunity wherever it needs be, and I think it'll probably be down the straight, the start-finish straight that is. Running down onto lap 7, Spike leads the way, 9/10 of a second, Afri in second, Lyronix in third. No real changes to the order, I've got to say. Vic Miller's in 4th, still getting hunted down by Navy and Siege, but that gap is quite stabilised. Honey Badger's in 7th, just trying to catch them as well, but Casper right on the back of Schnitzel running down the straight. The Finn, is he going to try and lunge it down the inside? Not quite. Schnitzel goes wide of the apex, Casper very deep into the apex, a little bit side by side. Tiny bit of contact there actually between them both, and Casper, I think, just trying to lunge it down the inside, has backed off slightly from that. We didn't see what happened off the camera, but Schnitzel holds on to that position for sure. He's still in 8th place, Casper is in 9th. Focus our attentions there on the battle for 5th. Navy, Siege and Honey Badger at this stage. Honey Badger seems to be quicker than the front two ahead of him. 5th, 6th and 7th, as Vic Mill has been overtaken actually, so Navy, Vic Mill must have made a mistake coming through turn 4, because that was definitely about a second and a half. So Vic Mill has made a mistake out on track, gives Siege now a bite of the cherry, with Honey Badger just in behind as well. So Navy capitalising on, we think, a mistake from Vic Mill, and Vic Mill now down to 5th. Definitely seems to be struggling in the wet conditions. Might be the first time he's raced in the wet conditions in these cars, who knows. Siege right on the back of him though, and Honey Badger is hunting him down as well. Honey Badger, of course, taking his first win last week of the season in the sprint race, of course, trying to make sure he gets as many points as possible within the feature race. Honey Badger trying to lunge it down the inside. Oh, actually snapping the back end there, Honey Badger, just coming through the left-hander at turn 13. Vic will now begin to hold everyone else. Siege is into the pits. So Siege is into the pits early. That's going to be for a wet set of tyres, of course, because it is still raining out on track. Honey Badger now will take that position and inherit that. Schnitzel and Casper into the final corner. Looking quite close, these two. 8th and 9th. Maze and Maximus looking quite close as well. We're right on board with this. Maze in the Uni Vitosi, right on the back of Maximus, who is, of course, in that Sauber Junior. Formerly known as Charu, of course, from the F1, the F2 2018 season, the F2 2019 season. They did form a deal with the Sauber Junior team, which is why you more than likely are seeing Antonio Giovinazzi in Formula 1 now as a result of that. Maze down into turn 1, right on the back of Maximus. Just seemed to go a bit wide of the apex there, Maximus, and chews the runners out though when he gets the run off the corner through turn 1. Has gained a little bit of time there, but Maze hunting him down. A bit of fire being kicked out the back end there from Maximus. He's under pressure now from Maze. Gorse is right on the back of this as well. Vic Mill looking quite close on Navy. We'll come back to that in the meantime very shortly, I do believe. Casper as well on Schnitzel looking quite close, but Maze on board with Maximus. And it's great actually to see quite a few battles happening out on track, but it's still quietly condensed out on track as Casper and Schnitzel now nearly go side by side through 8 and 9, that is, through the chicane, now into 10 at the left-hander, then through 11. Of course the lights flashing at the top suggesting that they are within the dirty air of each other, and Casper right on the back of Schnitzel, and Chuzy doesn't lose the back end there. Is he going to have to try around the outside? Schnitzel takes a defensive line on the inside. Afri is into the pits in the meantime. Casper trying to get the move done, not really forced out on track. Casper just ensuring he makes a mistake there out on track, and a bit of a Tokyo drift there from Schnitzel, allowing Casper to possibly go around the outside into turn 14, and Casper wisely from the outside line dips into the inside line and comes into the pit lane, and he slides into the pit lane, get caught on the curb there. There's plenty into the pits. So Afri is in, Navy's in, Lyronic's in, Honey Badger in, and Casper in. Let's have a look at the tyres, of course. They are going on to another set of wet compounder tyres. No intermediates here for the TTL F2. Spike leads the way then, and has got to do an in-lap, which will pretty much be similar to his qualifying lap. He leads the way. There is Andy, I think, just ahead of him. Yeah, Andy just ahead of him out on track. So Spike will be coming into the pits very shortly indeed. Where everyone now coming out of the pit lane, very close between Navy, Siege and Honey Badger. Will go on board with that now, I think. The Siege on 1 lap old fresher tyres. Gort's just in front of this as well. So Gort could be holding these guys up. This could really put the cat amongst the pigeons here tonight in TTL F2. We are nearly halfway through. We are pretty much halfway through. Spike leads, Vic Mill second, Schnitzel third, Sean fourth. They're still yet to pit. Afri has been into the pits, has came out in 5th, 1.6 seconds ahead of Lyronics, who has actually gained a couple of tenths in the pit lane. Maximus and Gort still to come into the pits. Navy trying to fight his way through on Gort though in the meantime. Nearly going to get the move done, and he does. I think Siege will try and follow through on this as well. Siege trying to go down the inside of Gort. Gort ensuring that he takes the defensive line. Siege on much fresher tyres should get the run now down into turn 8 and gets the move done, does he? Gort still on the inside line through turn 9. Siege has managed to do it around the outside, and Honey Badger following them through as well. The beautiful line being taken by Honey Badger around the outside, just leaning on each other a little bit. Honey Badger on fresher tyres makes it look very easy around the outside in the end. Still not over and done with. Gorse, yeah, Honey Badger just taking the defensive line there, gets the move done. Just moved across him slightly if I've got to be a little bit picky, but Honey Badger is into 10th place as a result. So everyone gaining past Gort, that's what they needed to do to really stay in the race. So Spike is into the pits. There is Afri. Afri, I think, could get this actually. Spike is out of the pit lane. There is Afri. The overspeed is going to be very close between these two out on the pits. I think Spike is just going to have it. Down the inside line. Yes, he does. Spike is back out into the net lead of the race. Schnitzel, of course, still yet to pit in. Vic Mill, Sean and Maximus have also been into the pits as well. Vic Mill rejoining in 6th position, just ahead of Siege actually, so has lost a position to Navy within the pit lane. Afri right on the back of Spike, coming now through into the middle sector. This is great racing so far out on track. It's been thrilling to watch. Afri, the championship leader, hunting down Spike. These two top in the standings at this moment in time. Spike in 3rd on 94 points, Afri on 164 points. I make that 70 points between them, between the both of them. So this is going to be quite interesting between these two. No love lost. Lyronics is right on the back as well. Lyronics in 4th on 86 points, remember. currently in second. Siege is down in 7th at the minute, so he's going to be losing out, but he will have the beneficiary of starting in second place for the sprint race. Alan Kay has also been into the pit to come into the pit and put on a new fresh set of wet compounder tyres. Spike just runs wide slightly. Afri and Lyronics beginning to hunt them down. Lyronics, of course, driving with a lung infection, I've got to admit. Even it's a credit really to see him even here. He has had a lung infection the last couple of days. We do wish him well in his recovery from that. But he's doing a great job out on track. And what on earth is happening in the background? Navy, Vic Mill, Siege and Honey Badger pretty much within a second and a half of each other. Navy taking the defensive line, trying to ensure that Vic Mill doesn't get past the pole. Impressing now out on track. Siege, Ironic setting the new fastest lap to 44.3. Schnitzel does lead the way. He does have to come into the pit, remember. Siege with a much better exit on Vic Mill. They're going to go side by side now down the straight. Siege tucks back into the slipstream, trying to ensure he gets the run. Late on the brakes down into turn 1. I don't think he's going to commit the move, is he? Ooh, a little bit of contact. Siege just leans in the back end. He's down on the inside line. It can't get any time through turn 1, and he has got the move done. So Siege make sure he gets the move done in a clean and fair manner, and Siege is up to 6th place. Past Vic Mill, but that, on track, is for a net P5. So Siege takes the net P5, he's into P6 though. Vic Mill is going to have the run up the hill, and surely they're not going to go side by side through here. In fact, Vic Mill, I think, is going to try and hold us round the outside of turn 4. Surely not. He's on the inside line into turn 5. Siege now hanging around the outside of turn 5. Look at Honey Badger right on the back as well. Navy beginning to get away as a result of all of this. They're trying to lean on each other. Siege just holds on to the position around the outside. Gets Vic Mill. Vic Mill trying to get past Siege. Just overcutting the corner slightly, but he gets the move done. So there we go. Spike has taken the lead of the race, by the way, as well. Schnitzel now ensuring he doesn't want to fight with these guys. Afri now down the inside into turn 12, I do apologise. Afri is into second as a result. There is a yellow flag in sector 2. It's a Gorse, I think that's round. And he's lost that, actually coming to the left, right at 8, 9 and 10, I do believe that is. And Schnitzel running wide as a result of Lyronics. Down the inside. Lyronics is now into third. Schnitzel has got a pit. I think he should have pitted that lap, to be honest. He's going to be losing out on more time to the guys behind. He's got about a 9-second gap to the guys behind. Siege, Vic Mill, Honey Badger still fighting out for 6th place, and Navy has just absolutely shot the bullet. He has really gained as a result of all the battling in behind. Honey Badger now right on the back of the pole. So the Dutchman right on the back of the pole here. BWT Arden against, want to get it right, the Art goes down the inside. Honey Badger trying to go down the inside, not quite going to get the move. Could get the run off into turn 2. No, doesn't get the run off at all. So Honey Badger wanted to get past Vic Mill, and they dive it down the inside again, just testing the waters really. I think Honey Badger there, right on the back of Vic Mill. You see the spray being kicked up. You can really see how difficult this will be for the drivers. Gorse is into the pits as well as a result. So Gorse is into the pits, will come out ahead of Alan Kay quite comfortably. Andy is about 6 seconds off, and Gorse is actually retired. Gorse is actually retired. I think that might be in the pit lane he's retired that. It's a shame that Gorse has retired out of the race. Oh, Vic Mill has a massive mistake there. Honey Badger's trying to hunt nearly down the inside there. Vic Mill very slightly out of the turn 5 hairpin there. Honey Badger right on the back of him. This has been thrilling so far. Hopefully you guys, as I say, are enjoying this race out on track. Honey Badger trying desperately now to get away from, trying to get away from Casper in the meantime. He's right on the back of Vic Mill as they now come in to that final sector. There is a yellow flag in sector 1, and I think it'll be probably as a result of Gorse retiring in the pit lane in his car, coming out on track, and obviously going through with the second sector to come and thingy. I would imagine. It's actually Maze that's round in the middle sector. I do apologise. It's Maze around in the middle sector. So Maze is round. He's made a mistake at turn 4 and turn 5 by the looks, that is. It's a shame to see, but he is within, he's 12th at the minute. He can still go. Fastest lap point is still available, of course, even in the wet conditions. So that can be fought for sure. We'll take a little bit of a breather now. Honey Badger still right on the back, fighting the back end through turn 1. This is going to be very close indeed between these two on the exit of the pit lane. Through turn 1 even, now down into turn 2. Honey Badger right on the back of Vickmill. Gort has retired as a result of him coming into the pits. Not sure if there's any front wing damage or anything picked up. Lap 13 out of 19. Spike leads the way. Afri second, Ironics in third. 1.5 seconds separating the top three. Schnitzel in fourth, Navy in fifth. Let's really have a look and see who the big gainers have been in this race. Siege has gained 7, Honey Badger's gained 6, Casper's gained 6, 2 gains for Schnitzel and 1 gain for Afri. And we're going back on board with the battle for second actually. Just hotting up, Spike trying to pull away. Let's have a look at the tyres as well. Schnitzel's still yet to come into the pit. He's losing a mass amount of time compared to the 3 guys ahead and compared to the guys behind as well. Spike, Afri and Ironics though for the battle for the lead. Out on track. Well, this is really a battle for second as Spike begins to pull away once again. We'll go back on board though with Honey Badger right on the back of Vickmill. I'm now starting to struggle a little bit on commentary, which I do apologise for. Ironics right on the back of Afri. I haven't taken a drink in a long time, so I'm going to do that now. Mates out of the pit lane. Lets the leaders through, which is good to see. Good sportsmanship shown once again there by Mays. He's out the pits. And just in behind these guys, and he does have about an 8.4 second gap to Schnitzel, who is still out on these tyres. He does have to realise, he does need to realise, and he's got to pit. He has got to pit. Mandatory pit stop for all drivers, and if he doesn't, I have a feeling he'll probably get disqualified from the race. So that's just a bit of a warning there to Schnitzel as a result. If he doesn't come into the pits, hopefully he will. Hopefully he does realise that he does have to come into the pits. If anybody is in a party with him, just make sure that he does get that message. It'd be much appreciated. Spike 9/10 of a second ahead of Afri with Ironics in third. We'll go back on board though with Honey Badger's flames spitting out of the back of the art. Right on the back of Vickmill. BWT Arden doing well at the minute to hold off Casper. 9.5 seconds actually, they are right on the back. The BWT Arden doing well to hold off the art car of Honey Badger, I should say. Goodness me. Honey Badger still right on the back of Vickmill. It's looking quite close between these two, 0.5 of a second. As I say, hopefully you guys are enjoying the race out on track, and I'm sure you guys are enjoying the action out on track. Hopefully we might have a dry race for the sprint race. That'd be fantastic to see if that is the case. Honey Badger though right on the back of Vickmill, right on board with Honey Badger, who will try and size up this opportunity. These guys in front are just becoming a little bit too close as well. Siege and Navy just beginning to catch each other, and Schnitzel closing in as well. Honey Badger tries to have a slight look up the inside. Ironics with the new fastest lap of the race will go on board with the German, chasing down his fellow compadre. It's exactly a second separating the top 3 on the exit of the last corner and across the start-finish line. Back on board with the battle for 8th. Honey Badger still chasing down Vickmill. This is the focus of attentions really, I think. 7th and 8th, the battle for the lead. We'll try and split evenly between them both in the last 5 laps of the race. Honey Badger trying to lunge down the inside, testing the waters once again. Not quite close enough for the move, I don't think. Gets the run off the corner, however, and the pole now under pressure. The BWT Arden, there's a yellow flag in sector 2. Not sure who that is. Honey Badger tries to dive it down the inside. Not quite. Not sure who the yellow flag in sector 2 was for. Honey Badger though right on the back, and he's going to try and go round the outside into the inside line now, down into turn 4 to battle the breakers here. Vickmill holds the outside line. Great respect though between both of them. Side by side running up the hill into turn 4. Vickmill has somehow defensively held that position brilliantly, I've got to say. Honey Badger just trying to ensure he tries to get the move done, and again he might just be sensing a little bit of desperation now, if I've got to be honest. The battle for the lead is heating up as well. Let's go on board with this. Spike, Afri and Ironics, as I say, there's plenty now kicking off. Navy is catching Schnitzel just in behind as well. We'll go on board with this in the short term. We'll go back on board with the battle for the lead very shortly indeed. There's a lot now starting to happen out on track, and it is for the battle for the lead, and it is for the big minor honours as well. Back on board with the battle for lead. Navy will eventually get past Schnitzel, who does have to come into the pits, remember. Navy ran the outside into turn 13, gets the move done. Navy ran the outside, very nice stuff indeed. Schnitzel does have to come into the pits. He's finally... Oh, I thought he was finally going to relinquish the position and come into the pits. He's not. He's still fighting out on track. Come into the pits, for goodness sake. Come into the pits. Goodness me, Spike leads the way, 0.4 of a second. It's all heating up out on track. Siege and Schnitzel trying to go side by side down into turn 1. Honey Badger and Vickmill looking quite close in the background as well. Honey Badger, very close now down the inside, dives it on Vic Mill down the inside. Surely this is going to be moved on for Honey Badger. Vic Mill runs right out around the outside, gets a 3-second time penalty. Schnitzel and Siege are going side by side. It's side by side on the background. I don't know where to turn. Honey Badger trying to go around the outside of Vic Mill now into turn 2. Vic Mill dives it down the inside once again, and he's got the move done. Honey Badger's still got to hold firm down the inside. Still great respect between them both, and Vic Mill somehow holds on. Siege is through on Schnitzel in the meantime. He's up to P5. It's all kicking off here out on track. 4 laps to go in TTL F2, and this is really hot enough to be one of the races of the season for sure. Spike leads the way, 0.4 of a second. Afri in second, Lyronix in third, Navy in fourth, Siege in fifth. Schnitzel, who still has to come into the pits, is in sixth. Vic Mill 7th, Honey Badger in 8th, Casper in 9th, Sean in 10th. They're going to be your point scorers at the minute. The top 8, of course, will be reversed. So that is something to bear in mind as well, possibly for the drivers out on track. But this is thrilling stuff. Honey Badger right on the back of Vic Mill once again. This is for P8 out on track. As I say, I don't know where to turn really with most of the action. I will try and split it quite evenly down the middle between the battles that are happening out on track. If I do, I will apologise if I miss anything in due course. Siege trying to chase down Navy for 4th and 5th. That could get going. Honey Badger, oh my goodness me. There's a yellow flag in Sector 3. Which is just ahead of these guys, I do believe. And that is Vic Mill now trying to go around the outside of Schnitzel, who still has to come into the pits. Goodness me. Oh, Vic Mill is right on the back. Honey Badger's right on the back of this as well. Are we going to get possibly 3 wide down the straight? No, we're going to get 2 wide for sure. We're going back on board with Vic Mill. From Honey Badger's perspective, Vic Mill now trying to lunge it down the inside. You can really see Honey Badger late on the brakes, trying to get the move done. Vic Mill is down the inside of Schnitzel though. Paul has got the move done on the Dutchman. Honey Badger now trying to sense this up. Honey Badger right on the back of Schnitzel, going around the outside. Job done. Honey Badger's got the move done. Schnitzel does have to come into the pits though. Remember that he could be getting disqualified. There is a mandatory pit stop, of course, within TTL F2. Unless I'm making up rules as I go along, then I do apologise. And I think some of the comments that's coming in might suggest otherwise. Crusher Bro saying, looks like a great race. Should get F1 2019 just to drive F2. Watching this spicy stuff makes me ever more interested. Join up. There's 4 spaces. You can easily be tested for a seat. Afri, right on the back of Spike. 2.25 laps to go. Oh, Afri, right late on the brakes there, just misjudging his braking point slightly. Spike now has got a 7/10 lead down into the hairpin once again. Honey Badger has got past Schnitzel. He's still trying to hunt down Vic Mill. Somebody is off just ahead. I think that might be Alan Kay that is off. As it's safely through, and that was Alan Kay just spinning the Trident out of the final corner. And his teammate, Afri, is currently in second. How pleased will he be as a result of that? We're on to the penultimate lap of the race. Spike, Afri, Lyronix for the win. And trust me, I don't think we've seen many penalties, but I'm going to have a run through. Spike has picked up 2 warnings. Afri has picked up 2 warnings. Lyronix has picked up 1 warning. Navy has picked up 2 warnings. Siege, this is very quick stuff. 1 warning for Siege. Penalty for Vic Mill. Honey Badger's picked up 2 warnings. Schnitzel has picked up a warning. Casper has picked up 2 warnings. Sean has picked up nothing. Good to see. Maximus has picked up a 5-second time penalty. Alan Kay has picked up a 10-second time penalty. Andy has picked up 2 penalties. And Mays has picked up 2 warnings as a result. That's a quick rundown of the grid. Literally quick rundown. Nobody has changed their order at the minute. Vic Mill and Honey Badger once again right on the back. Honey Badger, Vic Mill just ensuring he gets a bit more power off the corner there. I don't know where to turn, as I say, with the action. I'll try and split this evenly. We'll go on board with the battle for the lead. Look at how close it is between the top 3. It's 6/10 of a second separating the top 3 out on track. I've never seen it this close in a feature race in quite a long time in TTL F2. Lyronix just dropping off slightly. He's still within range. Afri again late on the brakes, make sure he gets the apex this time, doesn't lose as much time as what he did last time around. But final lap, I sense a bit of heart of courage is coming on, but I'm not going to play it over the stream, of course. You have to remain professional. Spike, Afri, Lyronix, this is now final lap stuff here in TTL F2. This is the feature race, the sprint race still to come. Afri has to slide out the final corner now. Lyronix has got the run. Now, side by side between them both. Spike leads the way onto the final lap. Afri in second, Lyronix in third. Lyronix hunting now. Down the inside he goes on Afri. Afri. He's got the move done, has he? Afri now around the outside. It's side by side between the two Germans. They lean on each other, touch wheels. Siege is on the back of Navy as well. Ironics round the outside into turn 2. Afri's on the inside line. It's still side by side. Spike getting away as a result of this. Ironics. Somehow, is he going to get the move done? It's still side by side, and it's still side by side, coming up the hill into turn 4. This is fantastic stuff. Siege is through on Navy in the meantime as well. It's all kicking off. Afri holds on somehow to Ironics. Siege and Navy are now going side by side in pretty much the same areas as what Ironics and Afri was doing. This is brilliant stuff. Navy holds it around the outside and has got Siege. Fantastic stuff from Navy. Holds the position. He's still in 4th. Siege in 5th. Honey Badger's dropped off on Vic Mill as well. Spike, though, getting away as a result of the battles now happening behind. It now ensures that Spike is probably going to get this win. Now into the final sector once again for the final time in the feature race out on track. What a thrilling race it has been, honestly. Fantastic for action throughout. Clean, competitive racing. That is what we like to see here in TTL F2. Made the sprint race bring the same as well. Fire spitting out the cars in the rainy conditions. Through turn 13 for the final time for Spike, 1.5 seconds ahead of Afri and Ironics, who are still battling for that second place in behind. Spike round the final corner then. The Brit is going to take his first win of the season, I do believe. Spike round the final corner at the Hungaroring to take the feature race. Spike wins. Afri second, Ironics in third. They stay the same as they are. Siege right on the back of Navy, trying to fight for this 4th position, but I think Navy is just going to come out on top with that great defensive drive through the first sector. Navy will come across the line in 4th position. Siege is in 5th. Honey Badger's dropped off on Vic Mill late on. Navy in 4th, Siege in 5th. Great racing. Vic Mill in 6th. Honey Badger will gain as a result, so Vic Mill finishes in 7th. There's a yellow flag in sector 3. Mason Alan Kay across the line in 12th and 13th. Schnitzel across the line in 8th. Not as they might be disqualified from the results. These are official, unofficial results, of course. Casper in 9th. Sean will pick up the final point in 10th position. That looks like it's Andy off at the final 2 corners, who was about to come around the final corner now. So Andy better come across the line just in front of Sean. Andy across the line in P14. Sean across the line in P10. And Maximus now waiting on, coming across the line. He's going to finish P11. Fastest lap of the race, by the way. And in fact, Maximus has run out of fuel. Maximus ran out of fuel late on. Just trying to pick up on who the fastest lap went to. There you go, Ironics picked up the fastest lap, 44.1. Very close between himself and Afri though, 44.2 for Afri. Maximus across the line in 11th. He finishes it off. Fantastic racing that on track. That's the feature race done. Sprint race, the top 8, of course, will be reversed. Los Toriados and the podium celebrations to come. Spike takes it in the feature race. Fantastic action out. Majority of the action. Clean, crisp, competitive. Seriously, if you are thinking now about joining TTL F2, we'll have a trial next week and I'm sure he will join. That's the best thing. Los Toriados now goes off. It is Spike, the Brit, who takes the win from the 2 Germans. Afri and Ironics in behind for 2nd and 3rd. Fantastic racing out on track. And there's still more to come. The sprint race is still yet to come here at Magdal Nedadec. So, podium celebrations over. We'll go straight into the sprint race, but it is Spike who takes the win. The fulls, 25 points for Spike. Afri in 2nd. Ironics in 3rd. Only takes 16 points, not 17 like you are seeing on your screens. Navy finishing in 4th. Had a great fight with Siege for the majority of that race in 5th. Honey Badger finishing in 6th with Vic Mill in 7th. They swap as a result of penalties. Schnitzel has to remain to be seen if he will be disqualified from the results possibly, but it will be tricky because he will be starting on pole for this race. Casper in 9th, Sean in 10th picking up the final points. Maximus, Mays, Alan Kay and the all completing. Gort retiring in the pits, finishing in 15th. But all 15 drivers remain as we go into race 2 of the evening, the sprint race, and my favourite time, the formation lap, where I can predict the top 3. And honestly, the top 3 prediction wasn't that far off, and it's still raining out on track. Still raining out on track. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Can we not get any better weather for tonight? Goodness me. May's coming in and saying it's like a shopping trolley on ice. It's like dancing on ice, I think, is what we're trying to say there. The Penguins, of course, coming out once again. Lyronix is coming in with an FFS. Bit of a rip again in the comment section there, I think, for Lyronix. I thought I was done one lap too early, said Dave. Crusher Bro also coming in and saying great move. No chance to overtake the 3 equal cars in the wet. However, it's still made for great action out on track. Schnitzel, as I said, didn't stop out on track, so it ensures that possibly we might be having a look at a disqualification. I'm not sure if there's been a bit of a mix-up there at all, but formation lap still to come. I'm just going to have a tune in to see what is going on in terms of the action between Sunderland and Scunthorpe. I do apologise by having a look at this. I just want to check up on the scoreline. Formation lap has now begun. Still wet conditions out on track. 15 drivers about to do battle once again. Schnitzel starts out on pole position. In 8th place, of course, the last race. Vic Mills starting in 2nd. I'm having a bit of a glitch. Thinking it's GT Sport moving down the cars. Goodness me, I don't know why I was thinking that. Vic Mill starting in 2nd, Honey Badger 3rd, Siege in 4th, Navy 5th, Lyronix 6th, Afri 7th, Spike in 8th, so the top 8 of course reversed. Then the grid as they were: Casper, Sean, Maximus, Mays, Alan K, Andy and Gort. All 15 about to do battle out on track. This is going to be very interesting to see what happens out on track. I cannot wait for the action once again to unfold out on track. And please keep it clean once again, like you did in the feature race. Keep it clean through turn 1 and through the first couple of corners, of course, through the first couple of corners and onto the first lap, because of course, remember, the race cannot be won on the first lap. It can only be won on lap 14, which will be 14 races, 14 laps here out on track for the 15 drivers to do battle here tonight. Cannot wait for this. It's gonna be fantastic stuff. I'm going to take a drinks break. It is 0-0 between Sunderland and Scunthorpe. I've just had a look at the result, the current scoreline there. So that's going okay at the minute. Schnitzel, a 2nd ahead of Vic Mill. Of course, this is the formation lap. I'm thinking it's the race already. I don't know why I was thinking that. But top 3 prediction for me. I am going to go a bit of a strange one here. Honey Badger for the win. Afri 2nd. Lyronix in 3rd. Spike, I think, will finish 4th. So just keep an eye on that. Vic Mill was quite strong in the sprint race, actually, in Silverstone. So don't discount him out. The driver's now flitting through the final couple of corners. We're going to be waiting on Andy and Gort, who I have a feeling has had a mistake out on track. Gort has made a mistake out on track on the formation lap. So, meant to be saying he is going to rejoin. Everyone else has rejoined on track. Although we can't pick up on Alan, Kay and Andy. Gort is coming around the final corner now to fill up that final grid position in P15. So, we're about to do it again. Buckle up. A wild ride is going to be had here. Let's see what the starts are like. The 5 red lights are about to go out for TTL F2 once again. 5 red lights are coming on. The sprint race is about to get underway. Very long hold on the lights again. It's lights out and away we go. Schnitzel and Vic Mill get a very good start from the front row. Honey Badger and Siege. A little bit of a moment in the background there. Andy and Gort taking it nice and cautiously off the start line, it seems, as they go piling now down into turn 1. Got to make sure that everyone has kept it clean. 3 wide for 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th there. A little bit of contact. Schnitzel just losing the back end and has been swallowed up by Siege and Vic Mill, who are now side by side down into turn 2. A little bit of contact in the background. It looks like Andy might be round in the background there. Alan Kay has been caught up in something, unless he was taking it easy through the first couple of corners. Everyone pretty much clean through. Siege leads the way from Vic Mill in 2nd. Schnitzel in 3rd. Honey Badger's lost it in the background of shot. Just saw that. He's in the wall coming through turn 4. I'm not sure if there was any contact there, possibly. I would imagine there was. That will have to be looked at, of course. Vic Mill leads the way. Siege in 2nd. Schnitzel in 3rd. Honey Badger's got a 10-second time penalty. That's ridiculous. Lyronix in 4th. Navy in 5th. Nepal now down into, and as Honey Badger retires from the session, understandably so, I think. We'll pick up on him, what happened to him, hopefully within the comment section in this race. But the main protagonists really have got off to a great start, and there's quite a few position changes going on through the field. Schnitzel's really been the only loser out of this first lap so far. Vic Mill does lead the way though, from Siege in second. Ironic's right on the back in third. Bit of a slide there from Casper, that was, in the background. The Carling just sliding out the back end through the right-hander at turn 11, now through turn 12. Vic Mill runs wide, but leads the way. Lap 1 out of 14 about to be completed. That's Casper and Siege. Spike going side by side. And Spike gaining the position, getting the traction off the corner. This is him down the inside in the dams, getting the move done. And Spike is through in the dams, past Casper and the Carlin. He's through, he's up to 7th place. At the end of lap 1, Vic Mill leads the way, 0.4 of a second as they come across the line. Siege in second, Schnitzel in third. Lyronix in fourth, trying to hunt down the inside. Schnitzel giving them the room. The German down the inside of the Dutchman, now pretty much side by side, running down the hill into turn 2. Of course, the DRS would be enabled if it was dry conditions. Lyronix now on the outside. Trying again, but Schnitzel holding firm. Could give Navy a bit of a look into here as well. And Schnitzel, you can really see how expansive this train actually is. Oh, Navy just losing control of the car slightly. Afri now on the back of this as well. Afri stays in behind, and Lyronix has got the move done. Schnitzel moving out of the way there of Lyronix, just making a slight mistake and a bit of an overrun through turn 4. Gets into turn 5 safely. Everyone, again, pretty much clean from the start. Andy had a moment earlier on in the race, on lap 1, that was. So Andy down the back of the field. Everyone pretty much clean through, though. As we have got a spinner in yellow flag in sector 1. Not sure who that was for, actually. But Vic Mill leads the way, 0.6 of a second. We're right on board, though, with the battle for 5th and 6th at the minute. After we're on the back of Navy, this is really expansive to a battle for 4th, as Casper is off track. I'm not sure if that was a spin on his own accord, if that was made with contact possibly, as Afri and Navy now go side by side. Afri diving it down late on the inside. We saw how in the feature race he was very late on the brakes out of that corner through turn 11, and Afri has got the move done late on the brakes once again, gets the move done on Navy. Spiking out right on the back. Vic Mill leads the way though, 0.4 of a second. It is very difficult to overtake in these conditions. At 3 out of 14, Vic Mill leads the way. Honey Badger leaving the session. We thank him for his attendance, of course, here tonight and his participation. Spike right on the back of Navy, trying to go around the outside. Spike is holding it around the outside. I'll tell you what, this could be pulled off. Spike around the outside, Navy on the inside line. Navy just, I think, going to pull it off. He's got the inside line. It does gain you time, actually, that little kink. Not even a turn 2. That is pure kink. It does gain you time. There is a yellow flag in sector 1. It is Gort that is round on the exit of turn 1. That is. That's what I mean about the back end being kicked out there, of course. Vic Mill leads the way. Afri, though, right on the back of Schnitzel. Schnitzel holding firm in 4th position at the minute. Afri trying to make ground through the field. It is very difficult. It is quietly condensed, this field. And if you have a look at the leaders' timings, actually, Schnitzel just tries to make the chicane there. Afri right on the back, and Afri now, as they come into camera shot, should be round the outside of him, and he is. German round the outside. Afri is through on Schnitzel, and he's up to 4th position, and he's now in clear air. There's the gap between the top 9 and really through the whole field as well. There is 25.7 seconds separating the top 13. Gort, of course, making that mistake, just spreading the field out quite evenly. Spike on the back of Navy in the meantime. There's a P7 out on track. We'll right on board, see how this sprint is being kicked up. There is a yellow flag in sector 1. I would guess that is for Andy, who has spun around once again. And with the timing screens not changing, that is definitely the case. So the Scotsman struggling in the TTL F2 tonight. Vic Mill sets a new fastest lap. Lyron expects that though with a 43.9, so actually going quicker than the first race. Tyres have warmed up quite nicely indeed, I think, out on track. Oh, Spike trying a very late lunge here on Navy, down the inside. Nearly pulling off the move. That was quite close actually. Spike could have pulled off the move down the inside. He didn't want to risk it though in case contact was made. He has lost time as a result. Got back on board with the battle for the lead. We haven't been on board with this for a while. Gort has sped in the pit lane, has retired in the pits once again, so the Gort not having a great night here tonight. We do thank him, of course, for his attendance, but he is out of the race. A Spike is through on Navy. Why is it typical? It's typical of me going off a battle, and Spike has got the move done on Navy. That was down into turn 4. Navy trying to hold it firm on the outside. Spike, I think, is just going to run him out of room, pretty much. Navy, nothing you can do about that. And Spike is up to 6th. Gets the move done. Good move. Vic Mill. Now being closed down by Siege, and look, he's hunting them down as well. Ironics right on the back, 1.4 seconds separating the top 3 here out on track. This is thrilling stuff once again, and again, majority of the stuff so far that we've seen out on track, very clean racing, which is what we like to promote and what we like to see here in TTL F2, of course. Do apologise, my voice is going slightly. There is a yellow flag in Sector 2 and Sector 3. It's Maze that is round in Sector 2, Sector 3. And similar to where Casper actually lost it. So Casper lost it there in the feature race. Maze losing it there in the sprint race this time. Vic Mill now getting closed down by Siege. Bit of a wobbly exit there with Ryan on board with him after he sets a new fastest lap of the race in the meantime. Down into turn 1 again, lap 5 out of 14. Vic Mill leads the way, Siege in 2nd, Ironics in 3rd. Siege was very close to the back of Vic Mill on the exit of turn 1. Looking quite close there indeed. And goodness me, it is going to be very close indeed here tonight between these guys out on track. This is going to be thrilling stuff to see, of course. Siege right on the back of Vic Mill, running up the hill into turn 4. As we run on board still with Siege. Closest battle out on track. Navy's on the back of Spike. Of course, Spike did get that move done actually on Navy, so Spike is up to 6th as a result of him getting that overtake. Navy down to 7th. The yellow flag in Sector 1. That is for Alan Kay, I do believe. Again, apologies if I miss anything here out on track. It is because I'm trying to focus on a majority of the action here for the guys out on track, and I'm sure you guys as the viewers want to see as much action as possible packed into one stream, and that is what I'm trying to deliver here tonight. Lyronics right on the back though of Siege. Much better exit. He's going to commit it, lay it down on the brakes, similar to what we see with Afri down into turn 11. Trying to get the move done. Think he's just got about a car length ahead he has. Lyronics has got the move done. So the BWT Ardens now running 1 and 2. This is good for them and the constructors. Vic Mill leads the way. Lyronics in 2nd, getting the move done through turn 12 on Siege. Gets the move done and he's up into that 2nd place. Lap 6 out of 14 now begins here in the sprint race. Schnitzel getting closed down by Spike though in the meantime, just in the back of shot. 4 tenths of a second separating between 5th, 6th and 7th here, with Navy just on the back of this as well. Spike down late on the brakes into turn 1, not quite close enough. Vic Mill leading the way by 5 tenths of a second. Ironics in 2nd, Siege in 3rd. Happy 4th, Schnitzel getting closed down. Spike again, much more confident on the brakes compared to Schnitzel, who just seems to be just tying up a little bit. Alan Kay is into the pit lane, so Alan Kay is into the pits, must have picked up damage after his spin. Spike in the meantime right on the back of Schnitzel running into turn 4. Very tricky overtaking manoeuvre there, and Spike not getting the move done. There is a yellow flag in Sector 1, and I'm trying to pick up on who that might be. It's Maze, I think, looking at the timing screen. Just changing Schnitzel very, very sideways there. Navy's trying to go up the inside of Spike, covers it off nicely, does Spike. And the BWT Ardens now going at it through. So we see a beautiful helicopter shot here through 9, 10 and through 9 and 10, then into turn 11, which was the right-hander there, then into turn 12, down into the braking zone line, right on the back. Look at Afri getting closer as well. Schnitzel holding up Spike and Navy, trying to get into a bit of clear air. Spike is going to lunge it down the inside. We saw this with Lyronics on Siege. And Spike trying to get the move done. He's on the outside line. The traction will be there on the outside. Schnitzel gives him the room. Navy trying to follow through on this as well. Who's going to get the best exit out? Schnitzel just about. And he holds the defensive line. Spike again trying to hold it up the inside. We're on to lap 7, so we're halfway through. Ironics on the back of Vic Mill. Spike down the inside line has got Schnitzel. Great move there by Spike. Picks his moment. Speaking of picking his moments, Lyronics up the inside of his teammate. Makes contact on the exit of turn 1. Lyronics has got the move done on Vic Mill though, so Lyronics not hanging about. ensuring that the danger is in behind. Navy and Schnitzel now go side by side. Navy right up the inside, in fact, trying to get 2 for 1 here on Spike. And Schnitzel, he's got 1 for sure, and he will only have that 1 because Schnitzel is down into 7th. Navy up to 6th, gaining positions. He has lost 1 position off the start. Schnitzel losing time off the start, but he is still scoring quite competitive points here. And now everyone just spreads himself out quite nicely. We are halfway through. Lyronix, Vic Mill, Siege are top 3, Afri 4th, right on the back of this now. With Spike in 5th, Navy 6th, Schnitzel 7th, Sean in 8th, Maximus in 9th, Casper 10th, Mays, Alan Kay and Andy still going around out on track. Hopefully everyone enjoying the stream. Still, once again, I'll have a look at the comment section actually in the meantime. Tom saying thanks Afri, so a little bit of contact I think must have been between Honey Badger and Afri. Of course, do send in the footage, because we do like to see the footage and we will investigate it of course, and through a quick and professional response will of course be received by the drivers out on track and by the stewards of course out on, who will be dealing with it, because I will be at the forefront of that alongside the others. But do remember to put that footage in, because if there's no footage, if there's no claim, there's no blame. That's all I'm going to say on that. Afri right on the back of Siege though. Down now onto lap 8. Afri right on the back of Siege. Got the inside line. Is he going to come in on the brakes? Committed down the inside. Spike at Siege gives him the room. Down the inside, and Afri has got the move done. The Trident on the Carlin, and he's got the move done. So Afri into P3. Siege not fighting that. Afri up to P3 he goes. BWT Ardens though, still 1 and 2. Vic will now coming back to Afri and Siege as a result of Lyronix pulling away. But again, it spreads out the field. Let's focus further down the field now. Casper right on the back of Maximus. The Finn is closing in. Quite a loss here, and he's going to dive it down the inside. The Finn. Oh, very, very, very close to contact. Maximus holds the line nicely. Alan Kay is just off track there on the right-hand side. He's clearly struggled here out on track in the wet conditions. Casper is surely not going to try it around the outside of turn 4. No, thinks second of it, and Casper holding on to the back of Maximus. But for how long? How long is Maximus going to hold on to Casper? Casper trying to find a way through here. Not quite going to be close enough. But look at the traction. Look at the traction he gets off. Feathers the throttle through the corners. Applies the power on the exit of the corner. That's exactly what you want to be doing in these wet conditions. There is a yellow flag in Sector 3. Not sure who that yellow flag in Sector 3 is for. For Andy, who was spun round. Andy again, another one struggling out on track here tonight. Not dealing with wet conditions that well. Of course, there's plenty of improvements still to be had for these drivers who may not necessarily be great in the wet. And they will practice and practice and practice, of course. This is the first wet race of the season, as I say. The first wet weekend of the season, I should say. Andy's into the pit. Lyronix sets a new fastest lap. Afri right on the back. And there's a VSC right at the worst point. That is terrible. There's a VSC right at the worst point. What is that for? Exactly. What is that for? I think it's Casper actually spinning behind Maximus as a result. So just to pick up on that, I think Casper has spun around. That's called a VSC. Afri was just about to get the move done on Vic Mill. I actually hate things like that. The coding on this game, quite ridiculous at points. And the VSC has been deployed for some reason or another. But when a driver is trying to get past another driver, surely there has got to be something within the code to ensure that that doesn't happen when a driver is trying to overtake. Afri is right on the gearbox of Vic Mill. He wants this. He wants this position. He's right on the back, and Siege as a result. Oh, Vic Mill's lost it! Vic Mill has lost it. I'm not sure if there was contact there. We're underway once again, and Vic Mill has lost it out of turn 5. Again, the camera angle was very deceiving there. I'm not sure if there was contact with Afri, but Vic Mill, all of a sudden, is the real loser out of the VSC. That is exactly why there shouldn't be a VSC really out on track, I don't think. There is a yellow flag in Sector 3. Alan Kay has retired out the race. We might be able to see where this has been done, possibly in the pit lane, I would imagine, for Alan Kay, who was out the race. But commiserations to him, of course, being out on track and competing in a very competitive manner for the majority of the racing. We will, of course, see him next week once again And I'm sure it will be dry next week, wherever we do head for TTL F2. And I can confirm next week we are... we are, of course, in Italy next week at Monza. But Ironics does lead the way as a result of a very, very crucial and controversial VSC. Ironics does lead the way. Afri now in second, Siege in third, Vic Mill fourth, Spike in fifth, Navy sixth, Schnitzel in seventh, with Sean in eighth, Casper in ninth, Maximus in 10th. We'll go on board with Navy, who was trying to hunt down Spike in the meantime, 9/10 of a second, separating these two out on track. Still through turns 2 and 3 now. Run up the hill, of course, into turn 4. And the action out on track really has been very competitive for the most part out on track. A little bit of here and now contact from some of the drivers, but majority of the racing a lot cleaner racing, which is great to see, and that's what we want going forward here in TTL F2. Hopefully everyone not bored and not I think the first time in these cars in the rain, hated, says Andy. And Andy's still going around in 12th position. If there's any more retirees in front of him, he might be picking up the points. You never know. That's what you've got to think. But of course, with Matt, in fact, just speaking of that, bit of a commentator's curse. Maximus has just retired. I think that must have been in the pit lane. So Andy now into 11th. One more retiree for him. Hopefully there's no more retirees for the sake of the action. But Andy, if there is one more retiree, he will be in the points. So I just want to put that out on the line there for the drivers out on track. Siege is into the pits. Siege is into the pits, and it's stopped raining. That's why he's into the pits. It's stopped raining here in the sprint race. Blue sky is now pretty much out on track. There is still spray being kicked off the track though. This will dry up quick. I think it's next lap for DRS enabled. So just picking up that on the rain. That was a bit late from me actually. Maximus said, Jeff messed up my pit stop, put me on softs. Not totally the best strategy, I've got to say, going on softs, but I think now is the time for softs, I've got to be honest. There's a yellow flag in sector 2. This is just ahead of Lyronics, the leader, who you are on board with. Get a sense of the conditions out on track. Casper, in the meantime, is on the back of Siege. And Casper on the wet... Oh, it's definitely not softs. It's still wet conditions out on track. It's going to be a case of... Oh, and there's Andy into the wall. And he's on a set of softs, so definitely not softs, judging by that. Andy ensures that is Vic Mill just going through there, I do believe. So Ironics leads the way. Afri in second, Vic Mill in third. The track is drying, but for how long? How long is the track going to dry for? And is it going to dry enough in time? That's what will be going now constantly through the drivers' minds here out on track tonight. Ironics leads the way, 4.1 seconds the gap. From Afri into second. And if that's an indicator, I'm not sure if DRS has been enabled, there is still spray being kicked off those tyres. It is definitely not softs, I don't think. It's another lap, possibly. Lyronics leads. Afri has stayed out. Vic Mill has stayed out. Really feathering the throttle through there. Spike has stayed out as well. Don't judge by me, judge by Jeff. Nevy's into the pit. Schnitzel still going round out on track. Sean still going round out on track. Casper waiting to see if he comes into the pits. Navy has picked up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Casper Siege. Casper Siege is actually out on the set of softs. Casper really sliding on the set of wets. He has to go around for another lap though. Too late for him to come into the pits. Afri leads the way though. Lyronics is out of the pits. This is going to really put... What happens here between the top 5? Do they stay out on track? Do they try and keep the positions? Is softs a gamble? 2.5 laps to go. This is going to be hanging in the balance between... If anybody can work the wets towards the end of the race, it is still drying up constantly out on track. And if we run on board with Afri, we'll see what I mean. There is still spray just being kicked off those tyres. It is a lot drier compared to last lap around though. And Afri holding on at this moment in time to a 4.3 second advantage. Lyronics has lost time to Sean, so if that is an indicator, it's definitely not dries. I don't think anyways. Navy's on the back of Siege, 4/10 away. We'll go on board with that actually. Battle on the dries in greasy conditions, I will call it now. Afri, though, is round turn 13. Does he stay out or does he come in? He stays out. I think Afri is going to go to the end of the race here. This is a big gamble from the German. If he does pit, he'll be in the final lap. Vikmil is now second. It looks like it's now Dries. Lawrence beginning to hunt them down, and it is Dries. As soon as I've said that, DRS has been enabled. So Schnitzel is into the pit to respond. Sean has missed the pit lane, staying out. Lyronix is round the final corner. He's on a set of softs already. Casper onto the final 2 laps. Navy and Siege battling. It's the 9th versus 4 currently out on track. Everyone who's put onto a set of soft compound of tyres, I pity you really, to be honest. I think the wets might just hold on. Those drivers out on a set of wets, I think might just hold on. As long as you're careful. They can pick up a 3-second time, but Schnitzel is into the pits. He's on the exit of the pit lane now. Navy right on the back of Siege. Coming down turn 1, and Navy has got the move done, I think, down the inside. Down the inside, he's got the move done. Navy has got the move done on Siege. Oh, Siege just sends it back down the inside of him. Fantastic by Siege. Gets the move done. Oh, and Navy has lost it out of turn 1. There's still a wet patch there on the inside. I'm not sure if he's lost it on the wet patch there. And Navy, that is why you gamble necessarily, you might not pull off. Lyronix closing down on Sean. 2 seconds, the gap. The German is flying right on the back of Sean. That is Mays still going around out on track. Is Mays actually disconnected from the race? No, he gets out of the way. Ah, Goldstein's on, that's why. Goldstein is on. That is why. Remember they put on that thing. He's Sean defending off Lyronix, but for how long? Oh, Lyronix much later on the break. Sean, oh, just about. Lyronix could have waited, I think, another corner to pull that off, to pull that move off. But on to the final lap of the race. Afri leads the way. Vikmil is in second. Spike is in third. The driver's on a wet set of compound tyres, and Afri's got a puncture. Afri has got a puncture left front. I do not believe this. This is throwing everything out the window. The rulebook is going out the window here in TTL F2, the final race of tonight. Afri's got a puncture and he's out in front. Vikmil could be handling his race win. Vikmil around the outside gets the move done. Spike is in third. Lyronix will try and hunt him down on the final lap of the race. Vikmil, though, has came up trumps. Afri has lost. He's got a puncture. He's losing the turn in there completely. He's got to make sure that Spike gets past in a quite even manner. He rejoins track. He loses the back end. Spike is trying to get past. It is a wet-on-wet battle here. Spike around the outside has got the move done. So Spike is through. Oh, Afri. Man just locked up there. And Lyronix is there going to be surely into second. Spike. Oh, he's got a puncture as well. I don't believe it. The wet compound of tyres are going. Vikmil is surely on course for a win, but you can't really discount it yet. This is going to be so close. If he gets a puncture now, this is going to be absolutely heartbreaking for Vikmil if he does. He's hanging on to the tyres just about 4.1 seconds. Car wobbling slightly. He hasn't picked up a puncture. He's through the final 2 corners. There is Lyronix. This is going to be close. Vikmil runs wide through the final corner. Lyronix getting closer. I think Vikmil's just going to hang on. This is going to be so close to the line. Vikmil has done it all on penalties. Lyronix has taken it on penalties. Oh, this is so heartbreaking. Afri has run the final corner in third with a puncture. Siege is going to be coming across the line in fourth. That changed so much. That's why sending out the wet compound tyres may not have been the best strategy. Don't listen to me. Listen to Jeff at the end of the day. Schnitzel across the line in 7th. Navy in 7th. What a dramatic end that was. Spike in it. Casper on the final corner in 9th. Spike has picked up a puncture as well. Casper gains in 8th. Spike in 9th. Goodness me. Goodness me. I don't think I've ever seen such a race change in the last 3 laps of the race. Anybody that stayed out on the wets has really done themselves over there. Vikmil has done himself out of a win with the penalties. It's so unfortunate. Oh, Lyronix has taken the win. Andy better come across the line in 11th position. Misses out on the points. He'd be very, very unhappy with that. But he misses out on the points. He's finished though. That's the end of the race here. The sprint race has thought an absolute thriller. Very late on. And it is Lyronix on the penalties. He does take the win from Vic Mill. Regardless of if it gets taken off or not, it's a B1-2 for Lyronix and Vic Mill. Goodness knows what Afri, what Spike, what the rest on the wet penalties would have been thinking after that. The conditions changed dramatically, the track dried out, it was time for softs. Everyone who stayed out nearly got to the end with the tyres. Such a shame. Oh, dearie me. So unfortunate. Experience always wins, says Lyronix. He only won on the penalties, however, I may remind him of that. Oh, Lyronix wins from Vic Mill in second. Have you ever seen a race change that much? Afri in third, Siege in fourth, gets a point for fastest lap. Sean in fifth, Schnitzel in sixth, Nevy in seventh, Casper in eighth, Spike in ninth, Mays in 10th, picking up the final points. Spike and Mays, not like on the screens, do pick up the points here, 2 and 1 points respectively. Andy in 11th, Maximus not finishing, neither did Alan Kay, the Gort, or Honey Badger. That's the end. That's the end of the race. Tim Wenting 42 coming in the comment section. How can I join this league? Message me on PSN and I'll make sure that the trial is arranged. So message me on PSN. My PSN name is JamesHead14, all lowercase, JamesHead14. I'll make sure you do get a trial, which will be next week at 7 PM. So we'll get that trial done for you. So just message me on that, send me a friend request, message me, and then that'll be fantastic. And then we can get an extra driver in the free spots that are available. 4 free spots available in the league. If you are interested, like signing up, just send me a message. I'm not like an alligator and I'll bite your hand off or anything like that. But anyways, that is it for TTL F2 here tonight. I can't really describe what I witnessed in that final 3 laps. Oh, I think we all need to lie down after that. Thank you very much for watching. No mini league action tomorrow night, of course, which is not coming on. Of course, mini league not happening tomorrow. It's finished, so no action from us. TTL F1 with Kieran McGinley and Andy on Thursday night. That is your next port of call, and that'll be TTFL with Malk on Friday evening as well. So that is how it runs here. I've just received your friend request, Tim. I will accept that and message you back in a short while. Might have to take up a little bit of time with the stewarding, but from me, JamesHead14, I bid you farewell. Thank you very much for watching here tonight. What a thriller. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, goodbye. I need to lie down.